Thank you. Recently, I tired of the constant hassle and expense of shipping my belongings every time I moved, so I embraced minimalism. So as a minimalist, I'm confident I can deliver a sub 5-minute speech. So I'd like to thank everyone involved with the Bristol Sports Hall of Fame for making this evening possible. Specifically, I was fortunate to encounter Mr. and Mrs. Callett in the grocery store line a few years ago, which kick-started the process that got me here today right now. Hank Lodge invested a great deal of time and effort into keeping me informed over a couple of years in several time zones. I can procrastinate with the best of the best, and Hank had a very special touch of keeping me on task. In the home stretch, with the last-minute details, Coach Freemuth likewise made sure everything was in order for a very special night. My journey as a student-athlete in Bristol started as a toddler on the sidelines of my dad's basketball and baseball teams and practices at Memorial Boulevard School. And then as a fan as his slow-pitch softball games at Page Park. My first teammates and opponents were my brothers, Michael and Mark. We had a truly epic, well-utilized wiffle ball field in our Burlington Avenue backyard. As an individual pursuit, I was obsessed with throwing a tennis ball at the John J. Jennings ball wall. Anyone remember that? A 4-story brick wall with no windows and a single brick missing in the middle. While my success ratio for getting a ball stuck in that space was 0 in a million, I kept trying for years. For organized sports, my parents, Rit and Joan, nailed the time and place of my birth to enable me to play in both the inaugural years of Edgewood Little League's girls softball leagues and then the senior girls softball league. From elementary to high school, my dad never said no to a request to play catch, and my parents and Aunt Janet were always present at games with cheers and often with candy, homemade treats, pizza, and warm and cold beverages for all. At Jennings School, I especially admired my sports-loving second-grade teacher, Miss Pelletier. Fittingly, a few winters back, we reconnected at a UConn women's basketball game. At Memorial Boulevard, Mr. Przygocki always made both softball and basketball enjoyable and educational. In upper elementary school through middle school, I had the wonderful opportunity to play basketball with Coach Floyd and girls from all over Bristol, including some marquee names like Stacy Mills, Kathy Ferrier, Laura Lishness. Even though I was clearly bound for Bristol Central, Coach Floyd nonetheless shared his expertise and passion to develop local girls basketball to include future rivals. This serves as a great example of Bristol's superb sporting culture. As for Bristol Central High School, here is a fun fact. Every single one of my high school coaches is a Bristol Sports Hall of Famer. Coach Freemuth wasn't just about baseball. He moonlighted as our girls softball coach. For us in soccer, a win would often entail not being shut out or not losing by a double-digit margin. After a particularly long streak of being shut out, Coach declared he would do a somersault on the spot in celebration if we scored a goal, which eventually happened. So we all went nuts while our opponents dejectedly looked on. Despite our challenges with winning or even scoring, our team certainly had fun playing soccer. In basketball, Coach DeFlippi and Coach Kilby made an all-star coaching team. Kill was a fully active player coach who participated in all our drills and scrimmages, always taking on the persona of whatever key player we had to contain in our next game. His active involvement certainly elevated our gameplay as individuals and a team. Coach DeFlippi did a super job of recruiting and developing our team. VCRs and video cameras were cutting-edge technology at the time, and my Aunt Janet would tape our matches and hand over the cassette to him post-game. Coach clearly did his homework, as he always had very specific feedback for our next practice. Perhaps we can find an old Central Eastern video in a basement somewhere to share with the Hall of Fame as a cultural artifact of girls basketball in the late 80s. At an early age, I was aware of Coach Pirog's larger-than-life softball coaching status. As players, we had no choice but to meet his high standards, and we were genuinely motivated to do so. He also went all out for us. Indeed, thanks to Coach Pirog's masterful networking skills, I ended up at Yale. Reflecting on high school, it is also fitting to recognize Mr. Greenleaf, who devotedly photographed all teams of all sports in all seasons for end-of-season slideshows. His tradition of paying special tribute to graduating seniors with photos from their freshman year, always paired with the Beatles' Yesterday, was a highlight at every sports banquet. To sum up succinctly, clearly I have batted 1,000 for having sensationally supported family, coaches, teammates, and community organizations. When it comes to gratitude for this, minimalism does not apply. Thank you.